Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion, your host of Hut, and this is another episode of the Insane Asylum, known as WFAN.
They're coming to take me away, ha-ha, they're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha, to the funny fun.
Hello, so welcome back to the Baseball Hut 2. I hope you like this video and hit that subscribe button. I'm going to basically chronicle the continued war that WFAN, the radio station, the legendary radio station, we're chronicling the war that they have against Mets first baseman Pete Alonso. This started in August of 2023, and I've been sort of fighting them tooth and nail and a whole bunch of videos, basically defending this player. And I'm going to defend this player for as long as I can. A couple of things about Pete Alonso. He's one of the nicer guys in baseball. No one ever says anything bad about them, but one particular show on that station has been going out after Pete since August. It started with Sal Licata, also known as Spaz Licata, attacked him and called him he's part of a toxic clubhouse. Now, here's the thing. This is very important to understand. Now, one example of a story has come out where he was described as that, but in no way, shape, manner, or form was there a specific story that's come out painting Alonso in a bad light. The biggest gripe we hear about Pete Alonso, well, his batting average wasn't that high. He's a .255 career hitter. I would mention that in 2022 he had .271. Last year he had .220 something or whatever it was. Who was the primary guy behind him last year? But Daniel Vogelbach. Daniel Vogelbach is now out of here. So a guy that was a black hole as a guy in your lineup is out of here. I would assume that Pete's batting average will go up this year coming up. Now, WFAN has cited sources. This is from Spaz Licata, that Pete Alonso is a toxic guy. When Spaz went on vacation shortly after that, one of the lightweights at WFAN, Sean Marash, said that the reason that Pete was a cancer in the Met clubhouse, a toxic guy in the clubhouse, is because he was going to be a free agent. Not last year, but this year, which is stupid on the surface because so many players are free agents. Going based off of that, you would think that every player that goes into free agency is going to be a cancer because of the fact they're going to be free agents. It makes no sense. Well, last week, as an aside, the New York Giants, they're a football team in New York, and I covered them on the Football Hut. I did a video talking about how the members of the employees at WFAN attacked people behind the scenes with the New York Giants complaining about the Giants head coach, Brian Daboll. And to a man, the dopes on the fan complained that they should know who was coming out and attacking Brian Daboll. Now, the stories, I did a video on, I'll put the link into it, you can check it out. But they are hypocrites because in one regard they want to know who is complaining about Daboll, but there is not one person at that station saying to Spaz Licata, who told you that Pete is a bad guy in the Met clubhouse? Not one person has come out and said that at that station. They're a bunch of hypocrites. So this war that the Mets have against this player is going to continue. This particular program, for whatever reason, it has made it its mantra to get Alonso Pete traded off the Mets. Now, also, as you know, Sal Licata has a show on SNY. SNY is the network for the New York Mets. He never mentions this idea that Pete Alonso is a toxic person in the New York clubhouse. Nothing. He says nothing about it. So you understand why I am beyond livid when it comes to talking about this stuff. Because you can't pander to one audience and then a completely separate audience in the same market you don't talk about it. Because I can guarantee you, if he was saying that Pete was a toxic individual in the Met clubhouse openly on SNY, they would run Sal out on a rail from SNY. Because that's a pro-Met audience. And that pro-Met audience hates WFAN. Don't doubt me. I know that from watching them all these years and listening to them all these years, between Mike and the Mad Dog and all these clowns. They prop up and say that they're fans. I have a question. Who dresses these people on WFAN? Why are they all coming in on doing their shows in sweatpants? I'm recording this video. I'm watching Evan Roberts. He's coming in wearing sweatpants. These guys have any shirts with collars on it? Why do they all dress like slobs when they talk? They're not us, again. I've said this again. They don't represent us, and they never will. Now, let me read you a couple things from Odyssey.com. They are calling now for the Mets to openly trade Pete. They want the Mets to trade Pete Alonso. They will never get any value for Pete Alonso. The most easiest comp to find in Major League Baseball is Paul Goldschmidt. He was on the Diamondbacks. He got traded to the Cardinals. The Diamondbacks got zero value for him. Zero. There is zero value you will get for a home run hitting first baseman. Nothing. It's not a premium position. You'll get nothing. His value is highest with the Mets. We also know that Barstool Sports is also calling for the Mets to trade Pete Alonso. And Frank Fleming is begging the Mets to trade him. Okay. You know he's supposed to be a Met fan. Let me read from Odyssey.com. Headline. BT, Mets need to start process of trading Pete Alonso. All right. The Coconut Head, also known as Brandon Tierney, is maintaining that the best path forward for the Mets, given the state of their current rebuild, may be to trade Pete Alonso. Now, the Coconut is taking it a step further, believing that the best course of action for the Mets would be to trade their homegrown star before spring training. You do that and you will lose 95 games, asshole. You do that and you will lose 95 games. Quote, no bid, no radio shtick. The Mets need to trade Pete, BT said. They need to begin the process of finding suitors and engaging teams in maximizing his worth and trading Pete Alonso. Well, then that basically says that David Stearns is a liar, because he said he wasn't trading him. And then people on your station, your co-workers, will bitch and complain that Stearns lied when he said he wasn't trading Pete. So that asshole in the morning will say, well, you know, that dweeb, David Stearns, lied to us and he traded Pete. I would look to go to Port St. Lucie with a different team. Quote, Pete can't come out and drop 39 points a game and will his team to victory. Baseball's very different. But if you lost a lot with Pete, you can possibly win a different way without Pete. Okay, who's going to hit 45 home runs? Who's going to drive in 130 runs? I don't know. How do you replace that production? How do you replace a guy that hits for that kind of power? I don't know. Who replaces him? No answers. BT understands what the reaction would be from Mets fans, as Alonso is beloved in Queens and on track to become the most accomplished homegrown position player in franchise history. But the Coconut doesn't see Alonso aging well to the point where he would be a centerpiece of an otherwise young core ready for sustained success. But his best path forward may be further boosting the farm system and investing in the future by trading their best power hitter. Quote, there is an emotional part which I get. I truly do, the Coconut said. Then there is the business part. It sucks from a Mets fan's point of view. You want him on a lot of levels. You need him, but signing him is counterintuitive to building a team the right way with his position and his age. You have to let your brain go there. He's 30. He's slow. He's a right-handed hitter. Don't tell me you can't trade him. He does not have the value. Coconut Head, he does not have the value that other players in different positions have. And right-handed power does not grow on trees. It doesn't grow on trees. And they posted this segment on YouTube. And they do an about face. Thank God for Odyssey. Hopefully the Odyssey is not goes kaput, because it's supposedly, not supposedly, reportedly that Odyssey and Entercom that owns WFAN has claimed bankruptcy. But here's from Odyssey.com. BT and Sal, could Mets trade Pete Alonso before signing him in free agency? Hello? What the hell? I mean, they completely, totally, this is why this is insane. This is why this is the insane asylum. Spence isn't ready to trade Pete Alonso, although he's been attacking Pete since August. And then as a coward, I would mention about Sal Licata. About 2-3 weeks ago, he attacked the YouTuber Wardy NYM because Wardy had said that Sal has no sources and Spaz was very disrespectful to him. And the reason he was very respectful to him is because he's scared shitless of me. I've been doing videos on Spaz Licata for, about 5-6 months now, criticizing him on his war against Pete Alonso. And he will not confront me. I follow him on Twitter, X, or whatever you want to call it. He will not write to me. But he will attack somebody that is a nice kid, and he will not say anything nasty to anything to me, because he knows I'll blast him like he's never been blasted before. We know that Spaz has a bad reputation of blocking people on X, and he got very nasty with me at 2-3 months ago. He blocked me on Twitter randomly and then unblocked because he knew I did a video on him. Well, he went after Wardy, knowing that Wardy has a reputation of being a nice kid. I have no reputation because I'm not part of the system. I'm outside of the system. So he doesn't know what to expect if he says anything to me. So he's a little scared of me, which is fine. But Spaz isn't ready to trade Pete, but would change his stance if the Mets are once again out of the running in July before the trade deadline. Again, you dope. He will have no value. Paul Goldschmidt has zero value other than the Diamondbacks. But that doesn't mean he would be preparing to say goodbye to Alonso forever, as he could see Alonso and the Mets doing what Aroldis Chapman and the Yankees did in 2016, dealing him to bolster the farm system before bringing him back in free agency the following winter. Quote, I would tell him, I'm not trading you unless you're okay with this. Oh my God. You have to have that conversation if you want to bring him back, Spaz said. If he's ticked off and doesn't want to be here, then so be it. I believe Pete wants the most money. I think he'd love to be with the Mets. But I think Pete wants to get paid what he feels he's worth, and the Mets have the power to do that, maybe more than anybody. If they trade him, so be it. He's not going to want to negotiate with the Mets. Come on, I'm not buying that. That's exactly what the Coconut believes, as he predicts trading Pete would effectively burn that bridge and Alonso's time in Queens for good. Quote, I can't prove this. Can't prove it. But I strongly believe Pete would be so offended that he'd say, I'm out, the Coconut said. They almost traded him last year and now haven't offered him anything significant. And if I'm Pete, I'm like, screw you. Someone else is coming with a decent offer and he's not coming back. This doesn't make any sense. But this is how it is. Now, let me just say this. This is how it is at WFAN. 18 minutes of this garbage, and they completely undermine what they said. Also, it continues this insane mantra that whatever the Mets do is wrong, and when the Mets do something right, it's wrong. They do not, they do not represent us as fans. Okay? They may be put up, and I would mention this. This is how insane this place is. That they had a program director, Mark Chernoff, there for 30 years. He retired. The guy that took over for him, Spike Epstein, it doesn't matter what you call him. He couldn't wait to get out of there. He wanted to do his own thing somewhere else. So this is a radio station that is in decline. And I do a lot of videos here because my audience shares a lot of stuff with WFAN, and it's funny me making fun of them on a regular basis. But this thing about Pete Alonso really bothers me because of the fact that they've put out a narrative that he's a bad guy. And all we've heard about him for all these years is that he's a good guy. You know, he's doing all these charities with animals, and he's very. I think he lives on Long Island somewhere. So he's very, very nice from what I've ever heard. But WFAN has got a bug up their ass in terms of wanting to deal him. And we also know that, like I said, Frank Fleming has a bug up his ass perpetually about the Mets always being bad and him always being disappointed. This is part of their BS that they've been putting out there for 30 years. And there's no one that challenges them. Well, I'm challenging them here on this platform. And again, there is no alternative to talk radio. Except now we have these podcasts, we have the YouTube channels, and there's plenty of channels that hate these guys, hate WFAN, and their nonsense. And again, Spaz Licata would not openly talk about this on SNY because he would get thrown out. The fans would have a riot. The fans would have a riot that were watching. And they would call for him to get fired. Then don't doubt me. All right? We're going to keep following this. I don't think the Mets are going to trade him. I have some ideas of where the Mets are going to be coming up this year. I think the first 2 months could be a little rough, but I think by the time we get to June, this will get going in the right direction. So just bear with us. This could be awfully bumpy the first 2 months of the season coming up. And I think a lot of young players are going to be coming in here, an infusion of blood, an infusion of enthusiasm, and better talent is really going to help this team out a lot. So I would not be so quick to trade Pete Alonso just because this coconut head on the radio says it's a good idea for whatever reason. The Mets said that they were going to be all in next year. So why would you trade your best power hitter? You do that and you will be bad again next year. You will be bad. If you trade him this year, you will lose 90 games, 95 games. Easy. Well, you let me know what you think about this video. And this is another episode of the Insane Asylum known as WFAN.
They're coming to take me away, ha ha. They're coming to take me away, ho ho, hee hee, ha ha. To the funny farm.